Typically, I like to do videos that are a little bit more digestible, but sometimes you're going to get me on a rant, and that's what I've got for you today. It's New Year's Eve, 2016, getting ready to go into 2017. And I just spent many hours today protesting, which is something that I actually really enjoy doing. I love a good protest, and it makes me feel really good to be able to use my voice to speak out for animals. But then there are the times like today when I was in the rain for hours having to protest something that really there's no excuse for. There's no excuse for any animal abuse, but today this just seemed really kind of ridiculous. Let me start at the beginning. I got word late last night that PETA had been in touch with the AIDS Healthcare Center, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, in order to plea with them to please not release 49 captive bred doves at this year's Rose Parade. Now, why would they want to do something like that? Well, apparently it's their way of symbolically memorializing the 49 victims of basically the biggest, worst mass shooting in modern American history, which was, of course, the Pulse murders in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub murders. Now, let me just say, when the Pulse nightclub murders happened, I was, like the rest of the country, like the rest of the world, brought to my knees. I walked around like a zombie for weeks, I think. It was horrific having the LGBT community targeted in that way. It angered me. It scared me. It broke my heart. However, I'm an animal rights activist, and I know that using animals for any reason is wrong, but especially to memorialize 49 victims. These captive bred birds cannot survive on their own if they are released at the Rose Parade. Now, we have been emailing and calling and using social media to reach out, and the answer that we got last night was, oh, don't worry, there'll be a bird handler there. So I suppose what they're going to try to do is get the birds to fly back to the bird handler. Now, worst case scenario, the birds do go back to the handler, all 49 of them, highly stressed, with their immune systems compromised from the chaotic nature of a parade, especially the Rose Parade. I mean, there's helicopters, there's marching bands, there's kids, doing all of these dance routines and stuff, and floats. I mean, it's a show. And of course, the worst case scenario is that they go off on their own and they have to fend for themselves, which makes them immediate objects of prey. They don't know how to survive on their own. So what they typically do, these kinds of birds, is they exhaust themselves wandering around, flying around, desperately trying to find their home, which they're not going to be able to find, or they succumb to extreme temperatures. They don't know how to survive on their own. Now, having these birds have to endure something as a way to symbolically honor those that fell victim to another kind of violence makes no sense. So yeah, we were out in the rain protesting the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, and we will continue to do so right up until the parade, which is in basically a day. So something like this really makes me wonder, what are people thinking? How in the world can you stand up for peace, say that that's what you want to foster after such a horrible tragedy, by putting other beings at risk? It's asinine, it's archaic, and this kind of thinking has to stop. And until it does, yeah, I'll be out there protesting the rain on New Year's Eve. But listen, the animals, they need your help. So this is my plea to everybody watching. Please fight for animals. Speak up. When something doesn't seem right to you, it probably isn't. So just continue to give the animals a voice. Continue to fight for equality and peace for humans and animals alike. Because as we always say, it is one struggle, one fight, human freedom, animal rights. Keep fighting until every cage is empty and every tank is drained. Thank you.